You're listening to DraftKings Network.
You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account, a friend paying you back, or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card, or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply.
Daredevil is born again on Disney+.
Why did you stop being a vigilante? The line was crossed. Sometimes peace needs to be broken, and chaos must reign.
On March 4th, the 9-episode event begins.
I was raised to believe in grace, but I was also raised to believe in retribution.
Marvel Television's Daredevil, Born Again. Don't miss the 2-episode premiere March 4th, only on Disney+.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz Podcast.
I don't think we around here have done a very good job of talking about these gambling stories involving Jontay Porter or more recently Terry Rozier when he was in Charlotte. You can listen to the podcast of Pat Forde, College Football Inquirer. He does it with Dan Wetzel and Ross Dellinger, but he's also a senior writer for Sports Illustrated, and he just reported with Michael Rosenberg the latest news inside a gambling ring that will look to me from where I'm standing. This could be a monster story here, and it seems like it's becoming something that will become larger in days and weeks. But Pat joins us now with some of his fresher reporting. And Pat, why is it that people aren't paying attention to some of the things you're paying attention to here that has, federal and NCAA authorities investigating something in a way that feels like a more relevant investigation than the average NCAA investigation, which can be pretty useless? And thank you for joining us, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, happy to be with you. And this is an interesting one that could get significantly more interesting. I agree. Why aren't people paying as much attention? Well, for one thing, Jontay Porter, first of all, is a bit player in the NBA who's been banned. So he's past tense. Terry Rozier has kept playing. To the surprise of some, but there's an investigation underway there into one game in particular when he was at Charlotte. The college stuff is generally speaking with lower level schools that are under investigation. And I think it's easy for people to tune out what may be happening at Eastern Michigan or North Carolina A&T or Mississippi Valley State or even Temple and some others. So, I think it's one of those the more this kind of succeeds upon itself and builds upon itself, the more people are going to be forced to pay attention. We're coming up to March, Dan, when people really start to lock in on college basketball. And I think there's going to be reason to worry and wonder how many schools have gambling problems.
All right, Pat, let's talk about this, though, because I do believe that these uneasy tensions between so much of the gambling money being responsible for floating what's happening in sports right now, and you can get in bed with lower level schools and make yourself money in a way that really threatens the integrity of what it is that we're watching. So just take us through some of your humanizing investigation of the characters involved here, because this is you're doing reporting here and you're meeting basically these gambling characters that, of course, are going to be kind of from the underworld and know how to get in bed with, kids who want to make a few extra $1,000.
Yeah, not exactly choir boys involved in this, as you would not be surprised to find out. The two characters that we honed in on the story, one's named Shane Hennon, a gambler who was arrested at the Las Vegas airport last month as he was attempting to go to Colombia on a one-way ticket. He has been linked to the Porter gambling ring. And then another guy named Marvis Fairley from Mississippi, his name has not come out publicly, but he has been described by Shane Hennon himself as my partner. And both these guys have gambling tout services. They also have lengthy criminal records. Shane Hennon has been involved with cocaine trafficking, an assault, violations of parole, and then again was just arrested last month. Marvis Fairley was up on a murder rap, which he did not get convicted or do time for, but has had several brushes with the law himself. And as you alluded to, the schools that we're talking about here, first of all, yeah, there's not a lot of players that are flush with NIL money. There's not a lot of guys that have NBA futures that they need to protect. So could they be more vulnerable to being compromised? Yes, they could. The other thing, these are largely bad teams at lower levels. The University of New Orleans came out today from Jeff Goodman that 4 of their top 5 scorers have not played since January during a gambling investigation. Does anybody notice if New Orleans has a gambling problem, if their players are sitting out, if Eastern Michigan does, if Mississippi Valley does? These are the worst programs, generally speaking, in Division I, and there's just not a lot of attention being paid to what's happening there.
So how are people, investigators, finding out about this? Like you mentioned, there are a lot of small, bad teams. How are you, catching wind of this as a reporter? Yeah,
it's a good question, Jessica. And really, it comes back to the gambling watchdogs that we have in place now to monitor legal wagering are much more attuned to who's doing the betting, where, and how. And so this goes back, the Porter stuff that was discovered in and of itself, but the Temple thing in particular. There was a game March 7th last year against UAB where the first half line shot out of the stratosphere, and so all of a sudden it's like, what's going on there? And people notice, and they may be able to track who is betting and where. And I think some of this stuff originates with offshore wagering and offshore books that are kind of saying, wait a minute, something's not right here. And they will alert integrity monitors. And then those people will start watching. And when you had the Temple UAB game last year, all of a sudden they're putting out an alert nationwide to regulators saying, take the game off your books. And so then you start there, and it's just kind of peeling back layers of an onion. One thing leads to another, leads to another.
What are the dumbest things you uncovered?
Well, I would say the most unusual, not bets that have actually been tied to game fixing, but Shane Hennon bet a first half line on a Big South Conference quarterfinal between Longwood and Campbell. Why would you do that unless you thought you had a pretty good amount of insight on that? He bet $300,000 on an ACC tournament game. That's a lot of money. Now, it's a high-profile game, but $300,000. I talked to some bookmakers who said we wouldn't even take a bet that big.
The reason I bring it up is because you've got something that is truly amateur. That is like many of these point fixing scandals in the history of sports, at the very least, do us the courtesy of having criminals who have some sort of ability to conceal these things. What you're talking about here could potentially become a seismic gambling sports scandal that starts with real stupidity.
Yeah, it starts with greed or recklessness or whatever. We are dealing with, and I've talked to people when we were, going through the reporting of this. It's like, what kind of people are doing this? So like gambling addicts, adrenaline addicts, people who can't keep quiet, people who can't, get a big score and then keep it to themselves. They got to brag about it. And so that just breeds a recklessness that I think maybe got emboldened. And especially if you were having success doing this offshore and maybe your conduit offshore was cut off and you had to then go to North American bookmakers, well, there's a little more regulation there, a little more oversight. You may just overstep your bounds. So we're not talking about people who are necessarily the most disciplined, buttoned down, nefarious gamblers.
So part of your article also talked about how Shane would go and hustle people in private poker games and decided to tell them he was his brother for some reason, which seems like best case scenario. They find out that you're cheating them, and then they come after your brother instead of you. What is the thinking in that?
Good question there. That's been alleged by people in the poker world that Shane Hennon was a card cheat. He and some of the other guys actually who have been arrested in the Porter gambling ring. I did have somebody say to me that Shane Hennon's fairly fortunate to still be in one piece if what has been alleged about him is true. If you've been a a cocaine dealer and you've been a card cheat and you may be trying to work the margins on game fixing, you're gambling or you're dabbling in a lot of risky behaviors, I guess you would say. But the poker world, which there is a poker world, I'm not familiar with it, but there is a poker world out there, and they're all like, oh yeah, that guy, I'm not surprised he's involved. Same with this guy, Bruce Pham, who was in the Jonte Porter case.
Forgive me, I wasn't listening to anything you said because throughout your answer, Jessica and Billy were taunting me because they got you to say good question, and none of my questions have been any good.
Why don't you
keep asking and you'll get to a good one.
Yeah, this is a big moment here, Dan. Let's go. Let's hear a good one.
Yeah, but now he knows, so he's just going to say good question.
Or, well, let's see.
Don't give it away, Pat.
We'll find out together here. Your best guess based on the reporting, this mushroom clouds into what kind of scandal?
That is an excellent question.
Oh, come on, Pat. Just give it out.
Come on.
It out.
Excellent.
I'm here to make friends with everybody.
Not Hennon.
Yeah, no.
And not his friend who you just outed either, his partner. You outed his partner, and he didn't have anything he wasn't even in this paperwork.
I think that there potentially is more at the NBA level. I think that's being looked at. I am sure there is more at the college level that's being looked at. How big does this get? I can't tell you. Are we going to have 50 schools under investigation? Probably not. One thing that's interesting here, I mean, I've heard names of a half dozen other schools, most of them on the lower levels. There's a lot of eligibility cases where if it's just players who are gambling, the NCAA doesn't even release eligibility rulings. So there might have been guys that sat out 6 games, 12 games, a whole season that nobody knows why for sure. So it's kind of going to be hard, I think, to quantify this. But I also talked with a gambling expert just before the show here who said it's inevitable that this gets to the Kansas-Kentucky stage. Now, I'm not saying specifically Kansas, Kentucky, but that big name programs could eventually get exposed for having gambling issues.
So if something like that were to happen and then a player would go into the pros and it would be revealed that they were part of something like this, is there like recourse the NBA can have on suspending a player for this type of behavior too?
I don't know. I'm not sure what the retroactive situation could be, but I think the NBA has gotten a little bit of a black eye over this between Porter and at least the Rozier investigation, even if that has not yet yielded anything. That I think they'd be pretty hypersensitive to having players that in any way fixed a game or through their own personal props or anything like that. Just it's not the kind of thing you want to have associated with your league, that's for sure.
Rozier is shooting 30% from three, worst among point guards. He's presently and actively throwing games.
Well, they finally put him on the bench, so he can't do that.
What will you explain to me the Rozier situation? You were skeptical of why he's still playing. What's fair there?
Well, I mean, that is probably fair, and that's probably been the decision they've reached of just that. Unless we have something tangible to go on, we're not going to sit him down. I guess the one thing I would like to hear from him and or his attorney is, hell no, I didn't do it. I really haven't heard that from them.
But in the absence of that, when you have the credibility of these reports, Pat, in the absence of a denial, what legally is making it so that he can still be out there when this happened to Porter and the evidence was very swiftly determined this is a person who needs to be banned from our league? Those are two very different reactions to similar reports.
They are, absolutely. And so the original report, this was a game in March 23rd, 2023, and the NBA says it looked into it and found no wrongdoing. Now, that clearly was not good enough for the feds. Eastern District of New York is investigating and has told the NBA that. So, was there something there that the NBA was able to, in good conscience, say, no, we don't think so, and then the Heat and Terry Rozier and everybody else involved could say, look, we've got a good explanation for this. I need to be able to keep playing. But clearly that needs to be explained to the federal investigators as well.
Last question, and thank you for the time. It used to me, mean something if there was a dual federal and NCAA investigation. But that wiretapping of college coaches before NIL became a thing was such a lukewarm disaster that I feel like the investigators had less credibility than the people inside of the business doing what was allegedly dirty. So when you tell me Sports Illustrated is reporting that federal and NCAA authorities are investigating a gambling ring, that used to be a seismic story. It does not feel like a seismic story today. It feels like you're reporting on something that I think is interesting, that should be more seismic, but it's not. So my question to you is, why? Like, this is the beginning of this, Pat. We are in a lawless phase where, of course, if you invite all of this stuff to sports and all of the gambling walls fall, of course, there's going to be this all over the place with competitionaholics and with addicts.
Yeah. No, look, I mean, I can't tell you that this is going to be Watergate. And I think your skepticism of both the NCAA and the feds when it comes to college basketball is well warranted, because it became an absolute farce, the investigation back in 2017, 18, whatever it was. You know, is this going to yield a lot? I don't know. There's been some speculation, and I can't tell you whether it's completely accurate or not, but that if the feds have a choice of expending their efforts on NBA players or a guy at North Carolina A&T, they're not going to care that much about the college end of this. And maybe this fizzles out, but I do know the NCAA is certainly actively looking into things. And again, you know, we're seeing players at a lot of different places who are suddenly not playing. Fresno State just benched 2 guys over the weekend and had a third who hadn't played since January. Again, the New Orleans thing I mentioned, North Carolina A&T's had 2 players that have stopped playing. So it's affecting a lot of places right now. Is it going to lead to a mushroom cloud, as you said? I don't know. Maybe at least just a good smoke cloud.
Can you guys tell me what that distracting color is behind Pat? How would you describe that color?
It's a delightful red.
I think it's like a garnet.
Is it what is it? Is
ruby?
Is it crimson? Is it ruby's good?
I like ruby. I would go with ruby. I think so. My shirt kind of almost matches like the red.
No, it does not.
It actually matches the undershirt. Did you do that on purpose?
It does match the undershirt.
I wake up every day planning how I'm going to look on the Dan Le Batard
There we
show.
go.
All right, there it is. Red wine, a little red wine.
Cabernet.
Oh,
it does look like a
Cabernet is good.
Burgundy, right?
Good.
No, clearly not burgundy.
That's actually how I wake up, so don't make too much fun.
Good seeing you, Pat. Thank you for the information, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right, I know I got to do this ad read, but hold on. Let me reapply. Did you hear that? Yep, that's my new favorite lip gloss from NYX Cosmetics. Now I'm ready to talk to you. I've been a huge fan of NYX Cosmetics for many years now. In fact, I use their Thick It, Stick It brow gel every single day. So you can imagine my excitement when we recently received a special delivery to the Le Batard studios from our friends over at NYX Cosmetics. And there it was. When I opened the box, glowing, I heard the angels sing, "Ah." It's their latest lip gloss fat oil lip drip. It's NYX Cosmetics' first lip oil of its kind. This creamy lip oil will have your lips dripping with fat perks. You get all the shine of a lip gloss and none of the stickiness while experiencing 12-hour hydration. I'm usually a matte lip gloss kind of gal. My normal go-to is NYX Cosmetics lip gloss, the Lingerie XXL. But after applying the status update shade, I have found my new go-to lip gloss. Fat Oil Lip Drip has high shine finish with comfortable wear and none of the sticky texture. A lip product that's hydrating, non-sticky, and only $9? Now that's a win. Try Fat Oil Lip Drip from NYX Professional Makeup. Available in 14 universally flattering shades. Find your perfect Fat Oil Lip Drip. Shop now at NYXCosmetics.com or a retailer near you.
Dan Le Batard.
I mean, they used to call me Chris Karaoke.
Stugats.
That back row is bringing it today.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats.
Five, four, three, two, one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
We have some anarchists among our production team. We have some anarchists all around the building. I believe Taylor is one of them. I don't know if Taylor is trying to keep his employment by making purposefully bad things, but he seems to make some purposefully bad things and delight in the making of bad things as if that's a way to career advancement. So we put him in charge of Boldest Take. And I got to tell you, this used to be a cherished terrain for us. I will tell you that Billy and Chris, even before Billy and Chris were on this show, we trained our audience to be creative competitively at Funny. And the remnants of that audience that now call this take line insults me, insults the history of this show, insults everything we've made around here for 20 years, because some people just call the take line and just start talking to a friend like for 5 minutes, just yammering. And it's not a take. It's not funny. It's not people trying to be creative. It's just people calling and leaving voicemails in a way that hasn't had a lot of creativity in it.
But those don't make air. Those just Taylor has to listen to those. Yeah. So that's okay.
This is the best of what we've got. This is the refined version of Taylor taking the very best calls, editing them down to their distilled best, and they're not good enough.
I would also tell you that I've gotten this from Taylor. If you're calling and he sees, because he can see the length of these files before he listens, if he sees that it is more than like 2 minutes, he's not listening to it at all. So you're just wasting your time and not even anyone else's, just yours, because it's not getting listened to.
I was going to say like 45 seconds. 2 minutes is generous.
Well, some of them are like 5-minute songs. Like, nope.
I meet people all the time who have been listening to our show for 20 years, and those people know how embarrassing it is that this creative community that used to compete to be funny has shriveled down to Taylor can't take more than 2 minutes of what you're doing on the other line. 305-486-GOTS is the number. We've got a purchased phone line. GOTZ is the number. We went out and got a phone and a line so that you can do this.
The Boost Mobile Boldest Take from the week is presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country. This is very exciting, Dan. We got 90 seconds here, the best of the best.
Of the last 10 days or so.
That's right.
Of our creative community shriveled down to this.
That's right.
I think the way we demonized the chef in Ratatouille seemed a little bit too much. I also would not be eating food from a rat. How good would the food have to be if the entire kitchen were rats?
What is the obsession of America with bagels? Bagels, overrated.
Yeah, this is Brian out of Columbus. I got a hot take for you. Every Bob Seger song is 1 minute too long.
Yo, it's your boy P representing Southwest Florida. My bold take is any candy with the word candy in it is trash. Cotton candy, candy corn, candy cans.
Hey Dan, Mike in Arlington, Virginia calling. My bold take is that restaurants should not have menus. So instead they just make 1 or 2 dishes for whatever meal it is, and then you sit down and the waiter tells you what you're having. You know, they can even post it online what they're making that day, so you know not to go if you don't want what they're making. It's kind of a plato del dia situation, but all they have is el plato del dia.
This is Jack on a mobile in California. My hot take is that the Monstars would have beaten Michael Jordan in Space Jam if they had any kind of good roster makeup. Okay, they had Larry Johnson, they had Charles Barkley, Sean Bradley, and Muggsy Bogues, and Patrick Ewing.
He's right.
They have no one who can guard Michael Jordan at the point of attack.
He's right.
They have all these bigs just waiting in the paint for him to get dunked on.
Yeah.
This is Space Jam. Yeah. He could dunk from half court.
Yeah.
If they had picked Scottie Pippen over Larry Johnson, Monstars win that game.
Hey, the listeners brought it. That was pretty good. Some bold takes there. Every Bob Seger song, 1 minute too long. Is that true?
Bagels overrated. I was also told that people just didn't know where to put them, so there were an assortment of Michael Doliak songs. Have you heard anything about this? Because Taylor's telling me he's got Michael Doliak songs.
What is this music bed we chose?
A wonderful one. It makes the entirety of the segment.
It's hold music,
He
right?
said any candy with the word candy in it is trash. Candy corn, candy cane. I think he said one more, but I can't remember it.
That is cotton candy.
Cotton candy. All he's spot on.
Bagel take. Playfully anti-Semitic, right?
Whoa.
Who says bagels are overrated? Who does that?
It's a terrible take. Bagels are delicious.
I got a great bagel story. Dan Marley told me this story. When he was playing for the Suns, when he was a rookie, they used to practice at the JCC in Phoenix because they didn't have a practice facility back then. And every day they would set out bagels for them after practice. And I think it was Tim Perry was his teammate. But anyway, he's sitting at the lockers, and they're saying, hey, how's training camp going? Like, not bad. And Tim Perry says, some hard-ass donuts, though.
Jessica, what happened to you there? Were you just the casual way Amin strolled right back in, grabs the show, and then tells an uninteresting story? Is that what you?
No, the punchline was a good payoff, but he did seem like he was petering out while telling it.
Just forgot who he was talking about and
Peter in the middle.
It doesn't usually happen, but he comes in and out as he pleases. Let's get back to something that I wanted to do.
It was funny though.
Because they're bagels,
yeah.
Not donuts. But he thought. And it was harder because it's different consistency.
I'm not saying it's not a worthy story. I'm saying he walked in kind of casually. I don't know whether we were interrupting whatever he was doing with Oddball. And he's like, I got it. Everybody stand back. And here, donuts, they're hard. When they're hard, they're bagels. Hey.
That's not,
I wanted to make my Monstar Jerry Krause joke, but then you...
Another great take by a listener.
That was a good take.
At the end of the day, when Amin wants the ball, you give him the ball.
305-486-GOTZ is that telephone number. Do better. Some scouts and some spies have sent me a video of my friend Michael K. from New York. I don't know if you guys have ever been surprised by one of your friends how well they dance, but sometimes I get surprised by my friends. So just put that in the lower right-hand corner, please, of somebody who just sent me a video of Michael K. dancing, because Carrot Top surprised me when I saw Carrot Top, and he was more shredded than I thought he would ever be. And it surprised me when I learned that Michael K. here was this good of a dancer. Have any of your friends surprised you with how well they dance? Because Kugler surprised us the other day. But have you guys ever been surprised? Like if Darren Ravel all of a sudden or David Sampson were just killer dancers, wouldn't that surprise you? If they were really good dancers.
I know we're talking Kugler, but I've often gotten this. People are sometimes surprised by how I can move.
You're a rhythmic dancer?
Yeah, I can do my thing.
You're jealous of Kugler?
I'm just saying, I would have thought I would have been mentioned first, but we can say Kugler. He's a good
I
dancer
imagine
too.
you as Kevin James in Hitch, where someone really has to tell you to just kind of keep it in a real specific box.
I do the
your limbs are flying everywhere.
I do the Michael Jackson kick a little too often, but...
You do it a lot. Yeah, he does it a lot.
Well, let's see it right here.
See. I
really like
you guys offended me. Let's watch Cougs dance. Cougs, why don't you come in here and dance?
He's done it on Mystery
He's
Crate,
done it well.
It's
No, it's fine. Let's have Cougs dance.
No, he did it before a Panthers game. That's how he does do it. It's a nervous
the Panther
tick.
dance. That's right.
He has a nervous tick that when he throws out the hee-hee,
it's a crowd pleaser.
It's a winner.
I know what a winner is. I have a winner. Oh, wow. Cougs, really good dancer. I mean, geez, what are we doing here?
I can't believe we saluted this as good dancing around here.
Okay, but look at the person.
The rhythm.
Look at the way he physically looks, and then his dance.
I've actually seen Cougs a video of him dancing at a wedding, and he actually can dance.
I was about to say, because this looks like Greg Cote when we sent him out to the dancer tryouts. He was dancing like that. You remember?
This is foreshadowing, and it's just.
I'm in for a dance off.
Oh wait, what's going on with my man in the beard in the back here?
Yeah, we've already analyzed that.
Okay.
You and Kugler. That's why you can't come in and out of here the way you do. It's why you should be here when we're talking.
We're gonna build up to it. I'm not doing it today. I need to prepare, but I'll have a dance off.
What do you need to do to prepare for a dance off?
Look in the mirror, see what I'm working with. No, I need to know what song we're going to do it to. I'm not just doing this willy-nilly.
I don't think dance-offs are choreographed. I think that you just go out there and you kind of like react to the music. If you have like a choreographed dance-off, you're cheating. Like, it's not a routine, it's a dance-off.
I disagree.
I like the elevator format, too. Yeah. I think you guys should do the dance-off in an elevator. I like
Who can do the Michael K?
The same elevator or different elevators going up the same
It's a
time?
K-off.
It reminds me of Portia in Arrested Development doing the dance during the protest inside the cage.
I need, some things to hold on to, though.
Girl.
It's very important here in this. Michael K wouldn't be doing this if he didn't have these nice bars to hang on to. Some elevators don't have the bars.
Our elevators have bars.
Okay.
Our elevators have bars.
We need to do this.
I do have a question, Dan. Who held the elevator door open for him? Because that elevator door is open.
No, if you look,
long.
the door is to his right. Like, you can see the sign on the side of the door. Like, this is the side of the elevator.
They're in the elevator with him.
I just had no idea.
Put it on the floor.
I
think he put his phone down, tilted up. You can see the door is to the left.
Yes, that is a closed elevator. Again, it's something that Amin's giving us that's not helpful because he came in during the middle of the segment and has been behind since we started.
Did you guys describe the video?
Yes,
no, you
we've
didn't.
Been talking about it nonstop. You were away. You didn't hear us.
I was here.
You did what?
When you said, you ever see your friends and say, I didn't know they could dance like that. My friend Michael can't dance.
Guys, you need a detente. Let's you guys, both of you take a deep breath.
Look, you've got John Sterling holding this door open when clearly on the right side, there's an elevator door open.
It's in the corner. How am I supposed to see
Paul
it?
O'Neill holding over the door for Michael K.
John Sterling, 86.
Look, yeah.
Oh, why are they putting Mike Fuentes up there? This is not how we're making editorial decisions.
But wait a minute. No, listen to me.
It's not good
Listen
dancing.
to me. Listen to me right now. The video team making this decision without any supervision, all of you to the penalty box. All of you.
Wow.
Every one of you. You're not allowed to just put Fuentes making a fool of himself out there.
What's happening there?
I
Lewis twerking on the wall.
I want that room empty.
That means we're going to be stuck on whatever shot we're
I
stuck
don't
on.
care. I don't care. We will keep it the same. I will not have those people making decisions for...
Major penalty, 5 minutes, swooning comedy.
Wait, all right, take us, then go. Take us, then go. No, they're just leaving.
It's a Matumbo finger.
I don't care. Like, you can't put Fuentes on and...
Why is Izzy pacing?
He was shaking that thing.
Because Izzy's doing the meeting that I jumped out of to do this goddamn show.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Amin.
Yeah, how about that?
A heroic gesture. A real heroic gesture by Amin.
This would never happen in Hollywood.
Howdy, folks. It's Mike, and look, it's been an exhausting couple of weeks. Even on the show, there's all sorts of debate. Which sport takes it seriously enough? Where's the effort? Let me tell you something. As long as I'm sitting down on the couch and I have a beautiful white can of Miller Lite in my hand, I'm good. I make any sports time a Miller time, and it's the perfect supplement because Miller Lite makes all the moments better with great-tasting light beer for people like you and me who love beer. It's always the perfect time for friends, family, and a great-tasting light beer. Tastes like Miller time. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers. The taste that you know you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just great beer for people who like beer. It has simple ingredients like malted barley for rich, balanced toffee note flavors and the iconic golden color that we all know and love. The original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/stand to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Hey friends, it's Jer Bear here, and I'm here to tell you all about Boost Mobile, which is now a legit nationwide 5G network. So I must take a break from the jokes here for a second and put on my serious voice, because I would never ever joke about a 5G network that has invested billions building 5G towers across the country. Not even once. Not even if Mr. Boost Mobile himself asked me to. There is nothing funny about it. Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network and also provides coverage across 99% of America. Seriously. Visit boostmobile.com or your nearest Boost Mobile store location to learn more. The Boost Mobile network, together with our roaming partners, covers 99% of the U.S. population. 5G speeds, not available in all areas.
Don Le Batard.
Mr. Shirt, if I may say for a second. Miami, they were
Yeah, go
simulating the snap count the entire game, and they were clapping at the line of scrimmage. And the only thing I want to see clapping are them cheeks on Mrs. Met in my face, Mike Shirt. All right, so that's one thing.
Stugats.
They're a bunch of cheaters, Dan. And you know who should be cheating? Mrs. Met on Mr. Met. And he can watch if he wants.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugats.
Chris Cote, I need to get to something that I promised earlier in the show, and I am ashamed that I have not done it until now. You had a great idea for a popular new show that I believe can be something that Metalark funds and sponsors and makes lots of money, which is just playing clips and asking you, is this patriotic or is it annoying?
I would love to play that game with you, but I'm going to need the video team back because they're going to have to cut to something. And
That's a really good point. Catch-22, Dano.
Yeah, it is, but I don't need them. I can move to any number of other topics. I'll spin that wheel again. Don't make me. I'll spin that wheel with those football topics on it all over again. No, I don't want you guys back in there. No, I don't need you back in there.
Look, it's like an encore. They just walked back in like the encore's happening. Like, all right, we're back, guys. Here we are.
I don't need them. They need to be punished. There need to be consequences for. I don't have many rules around here. Here's one of them. Once we've gotten to Fuentes twerking, no. Just no. Like just that.
There it is again.
Get it out of here.
How is that able to happen?
Not even good.
If they're not in the room, how is that able to happen?
Dan, have you been watching the TV show Paradise? There's a point where one of the characters puts it on a loop and then leaves, and they can't figure out. They got to reboot the whole system to stop. Anyone watch Paradise? No?
I think of that video where courtesing Jerron, who used to work for us like years ago. Like we put a courtesy on it, it's just Jerron's Instagram.
Also, the question was person that you expected to be bad at dancing that was better than you expected. So since I thought Fuentes would be really bad at dancing, I think this actually is a good example. He's
pretty good for a 40-year-old.
So Fuentes is somebody you thought would be bad at dancing. Has anyone else around here been surprised? Just really, there have to be some good stories there from people just being really taken aback because you're all of a sudden at a wedding and you look over to your right and you're like, holy shit, I didn't know Carl Ravitch had those moves. I didn't.
Oh,
Ravi
can cut a rug.
Pablo Torre at his wedding.
You think Pablo's a good dancer?
Well, that video
that would shock me.
The only thing I saw was that one video, and I was impressed. I didn't think Pablo had, but then I remembered Pablo's Filipino, so technically, he's an embarrassment.
I
he
don't
should
know
be
about
dancing
any
a
of
lot
that.
more and a lot better. No, I know all about that.
All right, let's play patriotic or annoying. All right, we're going to play a video here. Imagine you're on a plane. All right, you're having a nice long flight, and all of a sudden, somebody walks to the front of the thing, grabs the little microphone that the flight attendants talk on.
Intercom.
And I was just relax. And he sings, and this is what you hear. Is this patriotic or annoying?
And I won't forget the man who loved you gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
All right, let's go around the room. I mean, is that patriotic or annoying?
Why are you starting with me?
I would be annoyed. If I'm on that flight and all of a sudden people are singing, I'm like, no thanks.
Oh, is Chris Cote anti-American?
Yeah, put it on the poll, Dan.
I'll be anti-American. If that's I don't want that on my flight.
No, I mean, we can all agree. That sucks, right?
I'm good in the terminal. Maybe the terminal before the flight. In security. Let's get a song going in security.
Oh, do we know each other? Do we know each other?
Me and you?
No, the people on this flight, on this hypothetical flight.
Do all 192 people on this flight know each other?
Yes.
I doubt it.
Then no.
Where was that coming from or going to? Because they all seemed like in on it.
Yeah,
for
they
some
were together.
reason. Like this seemed like not a
back.
themed flight, but like they were all kind of like aligned on.
Well,
we're
but this is
singing
January
this.
6th?
But no, wait a minute. This is a MAGA anthem. Lee Greenwood, like this. John Oliver did a whole big special on.
I won't let that
On
be
how it was
done.
written for Canada?
That's an American song.
Was it?
But it's not.
He literally wrote "Proud to be a Canadian." It's the same exact words except for
I'm
Canada.
proud to be a Canadian.
Yeah, that's right.
Where at least
I have
know-
health care. Isn't that the words?
When
Poutine.
we were leaving New Orleans, I have never experienced a fun airport like they were having when we were leaving New Orleans. Like the people at security were dancing because they had like a band set up that was playing like in like the central patio area. Dude, they were having so much fun, like while we were going through, like to the point that I'm fine for you to like check my bag again. Like, I noticed you're like doing a little dip when we were checking something. Like, we can go through this one more time. Like, I got plenty of time here. A lot of fun was being had at that airport. I kind of liked it. People like doing their jobs.
I feel like the airport's not the fun place to be right now. Although you just flew this morning. I mean, I feel like a new horror story every minute.
What's this new like trend that people are putting on the internet where they're like, I can get through airport security into my gate in 10 minutes at every airport ever? And it's like, I've never experienced this at any airport ever. How do you guys keep getting from like the door of your car to your gate in 7 minutes?
Because they're cutting out the waiting time.
Well, I know, but why are they like, why are
2
they
minute video.
Why
How
are
do you
they
do that?
lying about this?
Because, Billy, it's the internet. This is where we are, Web 3.0.
Clout.
Yep, it doesn't matter. It doesn't,
But people are flying vastly more scared, though. You're getting a lot of videos of people getting onto airplanes like in a prayerful state because of the amount of terror involved with, hey, what is that happening on a Delta runway in Canada? Why is the plane upside down and on fire?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, don't use the word terror because when it comes to planes, that has a very specific connotation. I know what you meant, like as in terrifying, but terror, planes not so much. Right. Number two, we're actually behind pace from last year in terms of accidents up until this point. So
big win.
Yeah, we're actually doing better.
Okay, progress.
The internet would not tell you that.
Is this the Streisand effect, I mean?
Yes. And
fear is the way that one spreads, and it would be totally understandable if you feel like there's some instability in structures, government and otherwise, given a number of things that are happening.
I feel like the crash in D.C. where all the people died, even if it counts as one crash, actually should count as more, because that hasn't happened in the U.S. for like decades.
Yeah, like two aircrafts crashing into each other.
And several dozen people
Fatalities,
dying.
So you're just saying when you say that we're having a down year, that's just like regular crashes that don't involve
It's
collision?
late February, and he's playing semantics with lives in a way that was foolish.
Streisand 82.
Semantics with lives? I would never.
You are playing with numbers there. It's not fictitious to say that after the government stripped down the FAA, a plane and a helicopter collided in the sky over Washington, and there were a whole bunch of people dying. What are you doing?
A helicopter.
Like a lobster in a helicopter?
Could you imagine if that was like, what would
that would be a great thing to fight against Godzilla or King Kong in these movies.
Whoa.
Yes, right? I wanted to play.
We don't want to minimize the tragedy, though.
No, thank you, Billy. I do appreciate it. I spit a word incorrectly, and then all of a sudden the tragedy is minimized. That's something that happens around here.
Welcome to the show.
That's correct. I want to play some video here of Chris Eubank Jr. smashing an egg off of Connor Benn, because the fight press conference has gotten to a place now where the fighters are bringing eggs out in their hands to promote a fight and then hitting the opponent in the face with an egg, which is a good left hand. Like, you can't let that happen. You can't.
If you blink, you miss the egg.
You can't know that the egg is not there. And I mean, he is understandably angry. Look at that. He wants to fight. Those people there, that's 7 people holding him back because of the insult of, that guy just hit me in the face with an egg, which is more insulting than anything else he could have hit me in the face with.
Now, I am a foolish, ignorant man. Why were there eggs?
So that we would talk about the clip.
That's right. So that an egg would smash on somebody's face.
Because if there was no egg, we wouldn't be talking about this fight
Waste
whatsoever.
of eggs, though.
The question is,
100%.
did he have the egg in his little jacket pocket, or was it like just holding it maybe and his hands behind his back? Like, man,
that egg cost like $2.
Yeah.
$2. Where? Show me.
I don't like that the fight was called Fatal Fury, because I feel like it's not going to deliver.
I mean, there's an egg, though.
But, I mean, two men are entering. 2 men are exiting.
Probably
not Fatal Fury.
Unlikely to be fatal is correct. Unlikely. But if a man were beaten to death, you would really regret that commentary.
Oh, I mean, I look. I hope it doesn't happen.
That's correct.
And I know I'm saying that through a smile. I hope that neither one of them perish.
But you're predicting that this. You're saying this is false advertising. It can't. It's very unlikely statistically to be a Fury that's fatal.
Probably unlikely. I will say though, if it wasn't called Fatal Fury and there wasn't an egg, we definitely wouldn't be talking about it. But also, I probably will never think about this fight again.
It won't be fatal, but it will be excellent.
What if it is fatal, but there's no Fury?
Excellent. Get it, Dan?
There's already Fury. I mean, he just got hit in the face with an egg.
Yeah, but what if the fight happens and there's actually no Fury, but then someone dies?
Okay, well, that would be regrettable.
Like a heart attack the day before or something?
Yeah,
that'd be terrible.
It'd be fatal.
It would be pretty amazing, though, if your commentary on this would be, this can't be embarrassing to me, and we remember it forever because it was the day you said no one would die, and someone did.
Howdy, folks, it's Mike, and look, it's been an exhausting couple of weeks. Even on the show, there's all sorts of debate. Which sport takes it seriously enough? Where's the effort? Let me tell you something. As long as I'm sitting down on the couch and I have a beautiful white can of Miller Lite in my hand, I'm good. I make any sports time a Miller time, and it's the perfect supplement because Miller Lite makes all the moments better with great-tasting light beer for people like you and me who love beer. It's always the perfect time for friends, family, and a great-tasting light beer. Tastes like Miller time. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers. The taste that you know you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just great beer for people who like beer. It has simple ingredients like malted barley for rich, balanced toffee note flavors and the iconic golden color that we all know and love. The original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Hey friends, it's Jer Bear here, and I'm here to tell you all about Boost Mobile, which is now a legit nationwide 5G network. So I must take a break from the jokes here for a second and put on my serious voice, because I would never ever joke about a 5G network that has invested billions building 5G towers across the country. Not even once. Not even if Mr. Boost Mobile himself asked me to. There is nothing funny about it. Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network and also provides coverage across 99% of America. Seriously. Visit boostmobile.com or your nearest Boost Mobile store location to learn more. The Boost Mobile network, together with our roaming partners, covers 99% of the U.S. population. 5G speeds, not available in all areas.